Hi, thank you so much for tuning into the Non Expert podcast. I'm Kalyani, I'm your host, and today I'm bringing you a really interesting conversation. Today we have hosted Renee. She's a Mumbai girl who's now studying in UK. She studied in IIT and she's someone who's known for her absolutely amazing achievements in endurance field. So if you know anything about endurance sports, you know that Ironman is the biggest race on the world stage. It involves swimming, after that 180 kilometers of road biking, and after swimming and biking you have to start running a full marathon. So this is not for normal people, this is for ultra endurance athletes, which I call superhumans. So today we have Renee. She's also a superhuman because at the age of 20 she has already completed 3 of these Ironman races. And not just that, in her recent race in Philippines, which was the Ironman for Asian continent, she stood first in the age group of 18 to 24, which has now qualified her for the Ironman World Championship. This year, she is aiming at running 3 Ironman races for the remaining 3 continents and also the World Championships. In this conversation, we spoke deeply about the challenges that an athlete signs up for facing when they sign up for the race, but also the challenges that they never sign up for. My request to you all is give me a promise that you will share this podcast with at least 5 people, because stories like Renee's have to be told so many times and to so many people so that we as a country take significant steps becoming a sporting nation sometime in the future. Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, I know that you just finished a race and I'm sure you must be recovering right now. Thank you so much for giving us time. And you are somebody who comes from an elite group of athletes, the one who are training for Ironman triathlon. You know, for those of us who don't know about Ironman, it is basically a combination of 3 challenges. One is swimming, other one is biking, and third one is the full marathon, right?
Yeah.
So, in all, you all run what, 226 kilometers? You complete it? And how much time does an average athlete take to finish this?
So I think average athletes they don't do
I mean,
Ironmans.
average from the Ironman elite group.
It's different for everybody, and every race is different. So there's some races which are more difficult than the others because of the elevation and the weather conditions. So so last year when I did Ironman Hamburg, I took 14 hours, and this year when I did um, Ironman Philippines, I took 15 hours and 57 minutes. So
Wow,
uh, time my timings do change.
that's great. I mean, it must be a really unique experience because even though you're running, you're exactly doing the same thing, but every other detail about that race is different. And you are running, you're getting to travel the world actually, right, for this. So I think
Yeah.
it's a great upside, but I'm sure there are a lot of challenges also. Of course, we'll cover it in this podcast. I want to know everything about your journey. Could you just take me through your average training day? Like you mentioned, Ironman is very challenging race. It takes like 10 to 15 hours on an average for you, and different conditions when it comes to weather, elevation. You know, every other thing is different for each and every race. So, how do you actually design your training for these challenges?
I try to train in the morning, and then so I'm doing my bachelor's in data science and applications from IIT Madras. So I manage both my academics and my sports. So pretty much every day looks the same. So I get up, I have a class at 5:30, which lasts about 1 hour, 1.5 hour. After that, I train. I'm also doing a diploma in sports science from Carshalton College in UK.
Okay.
So I have college from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Then after that, I come back home, and then uh, I do my assignments, my coursework. I study if I study for exams that are like that are coming up, and and then after 5 o'clock, I train again.
You don't even have like 1 minute to do something else. You're a dedicated student and dedicated for this races. I think you're one of the youngest faces in this triathlon stage in our country and probably also the world. So, how many years have you already invested in this?
So I started triathlons at the age of 16. Before that, I was a gymnast. I did gymnastics. It started off with like a 5K, and then I did 10K, and then that slowly increased to two 21s in a week. So I did that with my dad, and and I really loved it. Like I loved the way I felt when I was running, and I just kept increasing the distance. And then when I was 16, I met my coach Shankar Thapa, who has been my coach since then, and I learned how to swim, because before that I never knew how to swim. I had never learned to swim. The only thing I used to do was gymnastics. So I had to start from scratch, and I learned how to swim, and then uh, I learned how to cycle on the road, because cycling on the road is very different. So you need
Yes.
to learn how to manage, balance yourself, like make sure you're safe, and make sure like you don't get injured or you like get into an accident, because cycling on the road, there are lots of things that you need to take into consideration, like the road, uh, cars.
Initially used to train in Mumbai. So Mumbai is one of the busiest cities in terms of traffic. So how do you manage your bike training in such busy city?
In Mumbai, we used to do outdoor rides, but I tried to like do most of my outdoor rides during events. So do you know the Geo Cyclothon? I had done that in 2023, and had actually won first in the 100 kilometers category, in the women's category. So that was a really nice race. So it was really well organized. There were no cars on the road. It was marked properly. That was just before Ironman New Zealand, which was my first Ironman. So I think I got a lot of like outdoor training practice on that day.
Okay. So when you train for such events, how do you actually structure weekly trainings? So can you just give me like a 1 month spread of your trainings so that an average person understands what all
Sure.
goes into training for this?
Yeah. Uh, so my coach, he gives me my training sessions, and so most of the weeks have the same number of sessions. So like 3 to 4 swims,
Hmm.
3 to 4 bike rides, 4 runs,
Okay.
and like I try to do 2 strength training sessions, but eventually I do one sometimes. But I aim to do two. So when you're training for a hot
Hmm.
race, I included doing like 45 minutes of sauna before swim, just to get used to the
Yeah.
heat. And
Yeah.
I think that worked really well, because during Ironman Philippines, I did not, the heat did not really affect me. So that's like the whole week's training.
And when you say these 3, 4 sessions of running and swimming that you do each week, so how many kilometers are these approximately?
So on an easy week, the runs are like 8 kilometers, 8 to 10 kilometers 3 times, and then one long run. Uh, the the cycle rides are like 1 hour, so 30 kilometers, and the longest one during an easy week is like 2 hours, and swims are like 2 kilometers, 2.5 kilometers. So that is an easy week. So that happens.
Yeah.
So that's the first week. Then after that, my coach, he increases it. So then the 2 weeks which are like in a middle maintenance mode kind of distance. After those 2 weeks, my fourth week, it's a high intensity week. So the high intensity week, the distances that I do, the longest ones, they're almost the same as the Ironman distances. So my longest ride will be like 150 to 180 kilometers. My longest run would be 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and my longest swim would be 1 hour. One
Wow.
1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes. And then it goes back to the recovery week, and then the middle week, and then the high intensity week.
Okay. And how do you manage like recovery and all of these things? Because this just keeps on getting increased and then your final race.
So sleep is a very important part of my recovery.
Yeah.
I make sure that I get 8 hours of sleep every day. And then sometimes after a big race, like after a long event, you sometimes need more, so like 9 to 10 hours. I try to give 9 to 10 hours during those days, because you really need that recovery. And you only see the results when you're giving yourself enough time to sleep. So normally for the last 2 years I was doing one Ironman a year. And now this year, because I'm pursuing a world record,
Yes.
uh, I need to do 3 Ironmans this year and one next year. So the plan was to do 3 Ironmans this year. And then at Ironman Philippines, I qualified for Kona. I was first in my age group, and I qualified for the World Championships. So, so it'll be 4 full Ironman distances in a span of 5 months.
Wow.
So
I mean, you
it,
make it sound really easy, but I'm sure it's not. Do you ever feel nervous about these things? I mean, you're a very motivated person, but are there moments where you rethink your decisions or feel anxious about your goals?
yeah, definitely. Like before a race, I do have like butterflies in my stomach and I'm a little nervous, but I think that's a good thing because it keeps me aware and it keeps me like on my toes. So I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't like so before a race, a night before a race, sometimes I don't get sleep, but I like make sure
Oh,
I'm like closing my eyes out there and sleeping because I'm so excited. So the week before the race, that's very important because uh, you need to carb load during that week. You need to give yourself enough of rest. You need to make sure you're drinking enough of water, and you need to make sure you're getting enough of sleep. So
yeah.
it's that whole 1 week before the race where you need to make sure you're doing all those things, and then the night before the race, I try to sleep as much as I can because I'm just too excited for the next day.
And how many hours do you sleep after a race?
Um, so I think 9 hours.
You don't sleep
Yeah,
that
9.
much. 9 hours is very average, right? So normal person also sleeps that much.
This time I was actually traveling the next day. So I finished the race on the 7th and we were traveling on the 8th. And our flight got delayed. So we were stuck at the airport. So I didn't get the sleep that I wanted after the race. But
Yeah.
when I came back home, I got enough of sleep.
That's great. I love that you're also emphasizing so much on recovery. Mostly when you talk about athletes or celebrated sports people, we only see how they're winning, how much is the grind behind the win, and how many hours are they putting in the training. But we rarely speak about sleep and recovery and rest. And I think all those things are also very important to define a success in any field, like any sport. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like sleep is like a magic. It's like magic. Like
Really?
you sleep and then you get up and you're fresh and it's like a new day and you're not tired anymore. So I think sleep does help a
Hmm.
lot during recovery. Like you're training so much, you're like training for there's uh some training sessions which are like 6 hours just before the like a month before the race where I'm like increasing my intensity and you just need to recover from that. And so I'll have like a 6 hour ride on Saturday and then Sunday again I have like a 3 or 3.5 hour run. So between that you really need to rest and you need to make sure you're
Yeah.
getting enough of sleep.
So you said you've been like in this field since you were 16 years old. You are now approaching what, 21? You're
Uh,
already
um,
21?
no, I'll turn 21 next year.
Okay, okay. So for last 3 or 4 years you're doing this. Before that you had a great career in gymnastics also.
So during gymnastics, I did nationals, and
Yeah.
so after I started triathlons, I did my first race in New Zealand uh, at the age of 18, and I became India's youngest female Ironman athlete.
Yeah.
And I think there are very few athletes that have done an Ironman at 18. So I'm glad I was one of them. And so I did that. That was my first race. These races are really expensive. So we were able to do one race every year. So that was the plan. I did Ironman New Zealand in 2024. I did Ironman Hamburg in 2025, and I was going to do that one a year till the age of 25 because earlier that was the world record. So youngest person to do an Ironman on every continent was 25. Last year, another person set a new record at the age of 21 years and 167 days.
Wow.
And that's when I realized I want to try and go for this record because it is a difficult thing. So with my race schedule, I'm on track to set the new record at 21 years and 90 days. And
Okay.
it is a difficult goal because I'll have to do 3 Ironmans this year and one next year. And I think I am prepared for it. I
You mentioned that these races are expensive. Of course, I mean we had an Ironman Goa 70.3 a few months ago, I think, in India. And only 1,300 people were participating in that. And out of those 1,300, also only fewer Indians. What are different components of this cost that is making this race so much expensive that it's probably not affordable to everybody?
So I think when you register for an Ironman, the race fees is not the whole thing.
Okay.
So there are a lot of costs that come before and after it. So you need to buy a bike, you need to buy a watch, you need to buy shoes, and that is just gear. After that, when you go for a race, you need to manage all the logistics. So flights, accommodation, figuring out how to get your bike there, because all airlines, they do not allow bike boxes. Uh, you need to be ready with your nutrition, and all of these costs, they're quite significant, and not a lot of people can afford it. So I think that's where sponsors come in. So when
Yeah.
sponsors, they believe in the athletes and they believe in the vision, uh, it helps the athlete a lot. It allows talented athletes to do what they're doing and compete at a whole different level.
And we are not a typically sporting nation, you know. And I've spoken to so many tennis players. They also have to travel a lot for their matches. I've spoken to a lot of mountaineers. Mountaineering is also a very expensive sport. Like you mentioned, even the gear costs so much, just like in Ironman. So, how do you, and when you speak about sponsors, ultimately these are business people. They will want to find returns in every investment that they are making. So you're an athlete, you have worked with so many brands already. You're still going to work with a lot of more brands. How does an athlete justify the investment for the sponsor?
Ironman is one of the toughest endurance challenges in the world. And what I'm chasing, it's more than a race. I'm the youngest Indian to qualify for the Ironman World Championships, and I'm also chasing a world record. I'm on a mission to become the youngest athlete to do an Ironman on 6 continents. And in order to do that, I need to do 3 full Ironmans this year and 1 next year. Right now, I'm not just looking for a sponsor. I'm looking for a partner who supports me and supports my vision. So the value isn't in supporting me after I've made history. The value is in being able to say that we supported Renee before anybody else did. And this journey isn't about just racing. It's about inspiring the next generation of athletes to chase big goals and to have ambitious goals, and it's to show young athletes what's possible when somebody supports your dreams. So come join me and help create history. Help me represent India on a world stage.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because, you know, we are such a talented country. We have no dearth of talent. It's just that we don't get enough opportunities. And a person like you, Renee, you are so inspiring. And you are actually a flag bearer of all our kids who are dreamers and they are super talented, but they're just waiting for the right opportunity to knock their door. And thanks for doing what you're doing because you're just helping India dream bigger. So that's really cool, I think.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest goals. Like, I
Exactly.
want every little child, little girl, little kid to know that it's okay to have big dreams. When I learned how to swim, I never thought I could do an Ironman. I thought it was like impossible to do those distances. But I proved myself wrong when I did it. I want every person to feel the same way. I think that is one of the biggest reasons that I'm doing this. Even if one girl comes up to me and tells me that I want to chase something impossible, uh, and if she believes that it's possible, I think whatever sacrifice I've made, it's been worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope for the best. And all of our wishes are with you on your every journey and your every race. So let me get some inner information from you. Do you have any rituals? Do you have any
I
superstitions
do.
that you do? Like I
I
remember
do.
Rafa Nadal has this. He's a tennis player and he has this
Yeah.
arrangement of bottles that he does before every match. And he doesn't like even a bottle going elsewhere. He just wants that to look perfect. So do you have any such rituals or superstitions that seem irrational to others?
Yeah, I do.
You
But
know? Great.
yeah, so I have a dog
Okay.
and his name is Sky, and I really love him a lot.
Does
And
Sky run with
before,
you when you go for your trainings?
no, he doesn't.
Okay.
No, he's not a running dog.
Okay.
He's a playing dog. Like, I take him for walks and he runs around. Yeah,
Okay.
so I would like rub my tri suit and take some
Oh,
fur, take some hair, and put it on my dry suit.
wow, that's really cool. I've never heard anyone doing that. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, and dogs are really
probably.
positive, and they will always bring good luck to your life. So I think
Yes.
you're doing the smart thing. Yeah.
Some people might find it very
No,
crazy.
no, no. I know all these dog people and they have done all sorts of things. So I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when do you run your next race?
So my next race is Ironman Canada on the 2nd of August.
And so currently you are training in UK. So are there going to be drastic differences in terms of elevation conditions?
So the weather's going to be very similar to the weather
Yeah.
in UK. It's actually going to be very different from my last race in Ironman Philippines. And yeah, the weather is going to be very different. At Ironman Philippines, it was so hot. Uh,
Yeah.
this is going to be like a calmer, cooler race. It's a river swim, and the elevation isn't that much. And so during Ironman Philippines, I actually had a lot of rain and lots of heat, lots of humidity, and we had lots of elevation during the bike ride. So
Okay.
I made sure I was very careful because during the rain there was like water flooded in some areas, and like I saw a lot of people like falling down, and I just made sure that I was safe, and I luckily nothing happened. So I'm really grateful for that. And so this Ironman Canada is gonna be like a nicer race,
Yeah.
and then
But even though it's nicer, it's going to be long enough. So it takes
yeah.
almost like 14, 15 hours very easily. So how do you actually break down this? Because 15 hours is very long period if you see the frame. So how do you divide the targets in smaller groups so that you can focus on that target really well?
So before I start the race, I know I have to do 226 kilometers, but I take it step by step. So I start with a swim. I go through the swim. So the swim isn't really like a problem for me. Like I'm pretty confident during the swim. So I get through the swim. I get on the bike. The bike is a longer section, so I like to take it like 20 kilometers at a time,
Okay.
one one pedal at a time. Uh, Finish the bike, get to the run. The run I like to take 10 kilometers at a time. But then, sometimes when it gets too overwhelming, and I think maybe this is getting really difficult, I like to take it 1 kilometer at a time.
So what do you tell yourself at that point in case you're overwhelmed? What is the conversation that goes on in your mind?
It's just that I can do this. I am made for this distance, and I'm going to do very well. And just take it one step at a time.
Yeah. You don't look
That,
at the
that's what I
larger
do.
picture because that can even may overwhelm you even more. So I think that's a smart strategy. Do you believe in manifestation? This is a very
Yes,
random question, but
I do.
do
I
you do?
do. And
Yeah.
it actually came through in my last race. So last race at Ironman Philippines, before the race at the expo, I saw a Ironman World Championships Kona jersey,
Hmm.
and I clicked a picture with it, hoping that maybe I would qualify for this race. I won first in my age group and I qualified for that race.
That's amazing.
That's the quickest manifestation that I've seen.
Wow. And do you visualize before your races? Like, do you have any practices that you do specifically for your races?
I do. I do visualize my transition, what I'm going to do, the order of what I'm going to do. So normally during transition one, so when you switch from swimming to cycling, I
Hmm?
start from up. So helmet, goggles, the bib belt, socks, shoes, take my bike and leave the transition. So it's pretty much the same. And I do visualize it before the race.
And that has given you results. I've seen so many athletes do this. They all visualize their D day, so to speak, and these things really become true. So visualization is, I think, should be part of everyone's training routine. I think, apart from your usual training. So that's a good point that you made. I'm going to ask you a last question. You're so
Okay.
young. Last 4 years, you're doing this amazing thing with Ironman training. You are also very focused on what you're doing. You spend so many hours each day in training and you're sacrificing so much of your life. Do you ever feel that others find it difficult to relate with you?
Oh no, I don't think. I find it difficult to relate with other people because, sport is just part of my life. I'm also a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. So I do relate with all of my friends. I do relate with my sister. My sister is my best friend.
Also into running and everything?
No, she was actually a artistic roller skater, like national champion.
That's amazing. So I think whatever you're doing is really working well for you. So just keep doing it. And I wish you all the best for your endeavors now and again later on also. So I hope that you achieve your dreams exactly the way you want them to be. So thank you so much for giving us time and helping us know you better. Thanks a lot. We are so grateful.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to speak to you.